Welcome to Banfield. Exactly 4 weeks ago tonight, on Monday, September 13th, Brian Laundrie packed a bag in his little yellow home, and he made for the hills or the swamp or, I don't know, wherever he planned to be on the lam. That is, if you believe his parents. And he did that under the watchful eyes of the Northport police. He just disappeared. But where the heck has he been ever since? On this 1-month anniversary of his disappearance, we know this. We don't know. But there is another anniversary today, because today is October 11th. And on September 11th, that is when Gabby Petito was officially reported missing. And tragically, we do know how that search ended. And it is likely tomorrow that we should have the official autopsy report. And that will mean her cause of death, potentially. Could also mean potential charges. About that cause of death, though, it's a good thing that we'll find out maybe from a coroner, because there is not one member of the Laundrie family who's been helpful in that department. So, I mean, the obvious question, Brian, would be, what's the protester story now? We're 4 weeks. I usually see protesters starting to, the fatigue sets in. They fly back home, they drive back home, or they go back into the houses across the street. Is that what's happening there?
Well, the protesters were back out here again today. I spoke with one of them, and she told me that they plan to be back out here again tomorrow. They're sort of going day by day, but they do have a different strategy. They sort of met with the neighbors at the end of last week who were getting really sick of the bullhorns, as you can imagine. So they haven't been using the bullhorns. They've been much quieter, but they are out here every day, and then they'll sort of shout without the bullhorns at the house behind me.
You know, I obviously would love to pose the question to the Laundries. 4 weeks tonight, your son, according to you, walked off for a hike and never came back. I can't get that interview. Clearly, no one can. But I suppose the next best thing is to ask you, Brian, you've been there the whole time. Are you surprised? Did you ever think for a minute, 4 weeks later, you would still be on that lawn?
No, I had no idea. I mean, when we first got sent to cover the story, I didn't know what to expect. I never would have imagined a month later, but obviously we would all like to interview the Laundries. That's really the main reason that we're out here. And you have to wonder, had they spoken already, would that have calmed things down? We saw when Cassie, their daughter, spoke, people sort of took a step back from Cassie's house, and people really haven't been talking about Cassie much. But it seems like the longer the Laundries stay inside and don't say a word, it just gets people more and more upset.
So the time that's passed, and I keep coming back to, like, when I woke up today, I realized 4 weeks ago today, this is how long this young man has allegedly been on the lam, wherever he is, running, surviving, and we're going to address that in depth on this program later on. But I also realized that after 4 weeks, flowers begin to die and mementos begin to wither, and the rain and the elements begin to, diminish some of those beautiful tributes that were left to Gabby by hundreds and hundreds of people. In fact, it was the town center at City Hall where they all began to build. And that itself is a developing story. What is it, Brian?
Yeah, at the memorial, they are now deciding that they are going to dismantle the memorial. I mean, it's Florida in the summer. It is hot. It is humid. So basically, they've decided that it can't stay outside any longer. There's teddy bears and flowers. So tomorrow, they're going to start boxing everything up, and they're going to take it to Gabby Petito's family so that they can have all those mementos. But I just thought of something else, Ashley. You mentioned that, the story's been moving on, and the mementos are getting literally soggy here in Florida, but the media in many ways is also moving on. We're really the only ones, for the most part, out here tonight. There's really no media around. And there was one thing I wanted to show you earlier. This is sort of our tent in our area where we hang out here on this side of the house. And we were kind of the only ones out here tonight. And there was this moment, you see where the trash cans are on the side of the house. There was this moment tonight where we were over by our tent. There was no other reporters around. And Christopher Laundrie came out the side door, which I've never seen him do before. He sort of popped his head out. I wasn't sure if he was going to go to the trash cans or what. And I thought maybe this is going to be the moment. We can sort of have this moment with him and finally get to ask him some questions. There's no one else around. We're on the side of the house. But unfortunately, that's not what happened. He just immediately saw us and went right back inside.
But it's distressing because listen, we've all done these stories before, and I remember well the Elizabeth Smart waning of the news coverage, and lo and behold, 9 months later, the biggest news story of all broke, and that was that Elizabeth Smart was discovered. And so it's hard for Joe Petito and his family to think that the rest of the media have left there, Brian, and it's distressing to me as well, just to think that he's still out there. That story's not over. He still needs to, account for what his story is, what his part in all of this is. But in the meantime, can you tell me a little bit about the visit that you had to the Gabby Petito Memorial at City Hall?
Yeah, so I was there for about 2 hours today, and I think word got around that it was going to be ending tomorrow, that they were going to be boxing everything up. So there were so many people out there today, more than I'd ever seen before from all over the state. There were even people from around the country. Take a look. This is what we found today. This is the Gabby Petito Memorial in Northport. It's right near City Hall, and we have watched it grow and grow and grow in size over the last month. It's really so touching to be out here. You see there's this big wooden cross here that says Gabby Petito on it. There are these butterflies all over the place because we know that Gabby loved butterflies, so many people have been bringing butterflies out here. But perhaps what's most touching when you're out here are the messages that people are leaving, the cards and posters like this one. 1999 to 2021, rest in peace, Gabby. This one says, forever missed, never forgotten, Gabby. Mother, father, stepmother, and stepfather. So this is a message to Gabby's family. My heart goes out to each one of you. This has touched me in such a way. I'm sure I only feel a portion of your pain. It goes on to say, she will always be America's daughter. With love and prayers, Jackie. So obviously, this story hitting home for so many people throughout the entire country, many of them coming here to leave their messages. And you see it goes all the way around this tree. I mean, again, this was not a big memorial a couple of weeks ago, and it's really, really grown in size. You can see this sign here, rest in peace, Gabby, Tennessee loves you. A lot of people signing that poster. So many flowers out here, stuffed animals. There's still Where's Gabby and Missing Gabby Petito signs. This started out here before Gabby was found. So there's still signs from when she was missing. Another beautiful picture here of Gabby. Bring Gabby home. Justice for Gabby. And take a look at this. A stone cross right here. This is similar to the cross that Gabby's stepfather left near where her body was found. Now this stone cross also here in Northport at the memorial. So a very, very special place. We know that Gabby Petito's family was out here over the weekend. Northport says because of the weather conditions, it's not ideal for all of this stuff to be outside. So tomorrow they will start packaging up all of this and they will be bringing it to Gabby's family.
So, Brian Enton, it's very touching to see that. Thank you, by the way, because I don't have a chance to go to Florida and see those things up close, but I know a lot of our viewers would like to do that as well. So thank you for bringing that to us. I had also heard that there was a bench that was going to be built in that area. Very sad to know also that the Petitos had gone to maybe pick a few things up. Do you have any idea what it was specifically they decided to take home with them from that memorial?
I don't know exactly what it was, but I know that they'll be receiving everything. I mean, everything you saw there, obviously not the flowers, but everything there, they can be picked up and boxed up. Northport has made very clear, the city, that they are going to take that to Gabby Petito's family, so they'll have it all. And you mentioned the bench. Yes, that we're hearing that there will be a bench in that spot that will be custom built, so there will be something there to remember Gabby moving forward.
Thank you for that, Brian. Don't go anywhere. When we come back, I want to address one of the stories that, broke over the weekend, that a body was found near the Appalachian Trail. My gosh, everybody started to think this has to be it. So when we come back, I definitely want to ask you about that. Also, before we go, I want to bring this breaking news to our viewers, and that is that the Associated Press is reporting tonight that John Gruden is out as coach of the Las Vegas Raiders, citing emails that he sent before being hired in 2018 2018, which contained racist and homophobic and misogynist comments. The emails were discovered apparently in a workplace misconduct investigation, and this led to his resignation. They showed Gruden denouncing the drafting of a gay player and the tolerance of players protesting during the playing of the national anthem, among other issues. This is really sort of astounding news. This has all been a rapid downfall for Gruden. He is in the fourth year of a 10-year, $100 million contract. He signed that with the Raiders in 2018. Again, let me repeat, a $100 million contract. Real hard to resign on that, but he is. Jon Gruden out as coach of the LA Raiders. News Nation's Morning in America is going to have full coverage on this breaking news story tomorrow. Oh, I said LA. I meant Las Vegas. Sorry. All starts tomorrow, 7 Eastern on Morning in America, 6 Central. Definitely stay with News Nation. And Brian Enton's coming back with more on the Laundrie manhunt next. Welcome back, everybody. I'm just going to touch on that breaking news for a little bit more, because a $100 million contract, when you back out of that, that's a big deal. It's also a big deal when it's NFL and a head coach decides to leave under these circumstances of racist emails that were discovered and homophobic and misogynistic emails, and they were pretty bad. I just want to give you Jon Gruden's statement that he's just released. This is what he had to say, and I'll quote him. "I have resigned as head coach of the Las Vegas Raiders. I love the Raiders, and I do not want to be a distraction. Thank you to all the players, coaches, staff, and fans of Raider Nation. I'm sorry. I never meant to hurt anyone." Again, that's the statement from Jon Gruden, head coach of the Las Vegas Raiders, as he backs out of a 10-year, $100 million contract amid a really bad mess. An investigation that unearthed a lot of things that you probably should never say, think, or definitely write. And that is the result of that. I want to get back to our breaking news that we've been covering with Brian Enton. 4 weeks on the run. As of tonight, 4 weeks since his parents said they last saw him packing up and heading out on a hike. That hike, if it was really ever such a thing, has now lasted longer than a vacation, a freelance gig, and a visit with the in-laws combined. The Carlton Nature Reserve in Northport, Florida, seems to be a bit of a non-starter for search and rescue operations. And there doesn't seem to be another swamp in the running for a multi-million-dollar search either. News Nation's Brian Enton is still with me from the Laundrie home. One question I have, Brian, and I don't know if it's going to be easy to see it or if it is in plain sight, but a lot of times when someone's been on the run for a while, they might think they're safe and they come home, and it defies logic. But are there obvious eyes on the little yellow bungalow every single day and night, just in case Brian decided to come home?
So let me say this. There's no marked police cars out here tonight. You look this way down the street before. Other nights we've seen marked police cars. You look the other way down the street, and it's just, there's no media, there's no police cars. It's very, very quiet out here. I've tweeted this before. There are things that we've seen that we have chosen not to report because obviously the most important thing is this investigation, and, Brian Laundrie is still on the run. So, I think there are things going on. But we're not seeing the marked presence out here that we saw at one point.
So the other thing that happened over the weekend was the news about a body being found in North Carolina near to the Appalachian Trail. In the South, I understand it's Appalachian Trail, and in the North up here, Appalachian Trail. I was actually on it this weekend, believe it or not. That body, everybody thought it might just be him. And I want to read a statement, if I can, from the FBI, Brian. And it says, "The body discovered along the Blue Ridge Parkway on Saturday is part of an ongoing investigation. At this time, there is no evidence to connect or any reason to believe it's related to the search for fugitive Brian Laundrie." When that happened, Brian, did you see any evidence of law enforcement coming to the house to inform Mr. and Mrs. Laundrie of the developments with this body that was found near the Appalachian Trail?
No, we did not. And the minute I saw something cross about that body, my first thought was we had a photographer. I wasn't at the house at that moment, but we had a photographer here watching the house. I immediately called and I said, have you seen anything at the house? Because my first thought was if this was going to be connected to Brian Laundrie, obviously there might be someone showing up here to talk to the parents. There was no one here, which sort of calmed my nerves a little bit. Got on the phone with the sheriff's office. They said we had to get in touch with the National Park Service. Long story short, we finally got that statement early this morning from the FBI, basically saying that it is not connected to the Brian Laundrie investigation. But there was one thing that stood out to me in that statement, and you probably noticed it too. It's that the FBI called Brian Laundrie a fugitive, which we've all known he's a fugitive, but that was really the first time in black and white I've seen the FBI in a statement or a tweet or anything like that actually use the word fugitive.
Yeah, listen, we're always careful with the language of how you deem someone who is not yet charged with a certain crime. He is charged with bank fraud. It's a federal crime, so he is a wanted man. He is a fugitive, and he is a federal fugitive, which means that any law enforcement entity anywhere across the country, from Alaska to Hawaii to Florida and everywhere in between, they can get involved, they can make that arrest, and they can get eyes on and get a collar, as they call it in the industry. Hey, Brian, excellent job as always. Let us know if you see any other activity or motion there tonight, and we'll definitely come back to you. And the story continues. You're not leaving. We're not leaving. We want answers, and we're going to get them. Darn it. Brian, thank you.
Thanks, Ashley.
Just never lets that go. He finds every detail. Okay, so still to come. This next guy makes a living being hunted by the best trackers in the world. The star of Lone Target, Joel Lambert, is back with us tonight to break down what happens to your body with every passing week on the run. And now, since we've hit the 4-week mark, maybe more importantly, what happens to your mind? You will be astounded at what he's going to tell you. His own sister called him a, quote, mediocre survivalist. But whatever Brian Laundrie is doing right now, tonight, to stay alive, he has somehow remained undetected for 4 weeks straight. Yet with every passing week, when you're running for your life, everything gets tougher. The weather gets colder, the body gets thinner, and your mind becomes your own worst enemy. Just ask a Navy SEAL. They go through mental torture to see if they've got what it takes to survive when the enemy is after you. Joining me now is Joel Lambert. He's a 10-year veteran of the Navy SEALs, and he's the host of Lone Target, a show all about eluding capture by the best fugitive trackers in the world. He also runs escapeandevademobile.com. Joel, it's really great to have you back on the show tonight. You know, I have this question.
Thanks,
you told me this amazing expression that the Navy SEALs say you can get to the mind through the body. And I keep thinking that Brian's body can't be in too good a shape after 4 weeks if he is, in fact, out in the wilderness. So what does that say about what's going through his mind? Do you have any thoughts?
Well, yeah, I have a lot of thoughts, but I think that his mind is probably, well, there's a lot of things that are going to be affecting his mind, but your mental mindset is the most important tool, and it could also be your worst enemy. And after this long, with this much stress on the guy, and probably, as we also spoke about, he's probably working with a calorie deficit. That affects your gray matter as well. So his mental fortitude is going to be probably the thing that's bringing him down the most right now if he's out in the wilderness.
Well, let's talk about, since we just hit week 4, right? Tonight, it's the actual anniversary, week-iversary. What happens in week 1? You've got this sort of this rule of threes, and I wanted to sort of think through week 1 with regard to your rule of threes. Explain it for me.
All right. Well, the rule of threes is something to guide your thinking and your planning in a survival or escape and evasion situation. And the rule of threes states that you can survive 3 hours without shelter, you can survive 3 days without water, and you can survive 3 weeks without food. And obviously those are guidelines, and there's other factors that are dependent upon that. But for the most part, you need to prioritize shelter first, because your body, and shelter is anything that protects your physical body from the elements. So good clothing is shelter. A tent, of course, is shelter. A lean-to that you can build is shelter. A fire that will warm your body is shelter. But then water, you'll start dehydrating if you don't get water right away after shelter. And then, of course, food, you can go a long time without food. It's not comfortable, and you're not going to be doing well, but you're not going to die or get into a debilitated state with your body for several weeks with food.
Yeah,
So
I think people would be. But I was going to say, people would be thinking, wait a minute, 3 hours, no shelter. But, you know, the elements, you've got to really consider the elements, and that can take you out very quickly. But go ahead. What were you going to say?
Exactly. Well, as far as that goes, the 3 hours, that's in inclement weather. I mean, and if it's a sunny, warm day in Florida and he's in a T-shirt and shorts, he's going to be fine. But that's what you have to assess. You have to know that shelter is the first thing. So assess the weather, assess your clothing, assess you know, the environment that you're in, and make that call. Do I need to, is a blizzard coming in? If that's the case, I need to stop everything and I need to get shelter from that. A rainstorm coming in, I have to stop everything and get shelter from that. A desert sun, I have to stop everything and get shelter from that before you move on to your next priorities. So the situation dictates. The situation will always depend on, you know, all the factors that are involved.
Well, as far as the food goes, I saw a part of your show where you did something I'm not sure any of us could ever do or think about, but I guess when you have to, you have to. You trapped a snake, and that was dinner. So let's take a peek at it and ask you a couple things about it next. Take a look.
All right.
For one, all the things that I'm going to be doing, the counter-tracking techniques, the booby traps, the insertion, the extracts, some of the little tricks and tools I'll use to find food and catch food, start fires.
It's a boa. Look at that guy. See those teeth? They're like needles. Now you know what they call Special Forces guys snake eaters.
There we go. Get a little snake fillet out.
So, okay, is this something that, you know, because you're elite, you're a Navy SEAL, would the average, you know, really good camper who was in a van crossing the country, would he know how to do that?
You know, I don't know what this guy knows, but honestly, snake is very good eating, and most people know that snake is, you can eat any snake, even venomous snakes. You just have to obviously watch out for the snake venom, but all snakes are edible. So if you can catch a snake, they can be they can hurt you, and that's one of the things you want to weigh, is the risk worth the reward. But a snake, especially if he's in Florida, in a reserve in Florida, there's a lot of snake, and that would be a good way to get protein.
Wow, yeah, it's perfume, right? It's pretty dangerous to risk that. However, I want to move to week 2, you know. Week 2, let's discuss the adrenaline and what that does to what you call the 4 Fs. I think they're like fight, flight, freeze, and focus. I don't think I'd heard the freeze and focus before, but walk me through the adrenaline and what those 4 things mean.
Okay, well, in nature and human beings as well, we have a fight or flight response, and everyone's familiar with fight or flight. When you're threatened, you tend to turn towards fight or turn towards flight. But that's often overlooked in nature. There's a third one, which is freeze. And so a lot of animals will freeze when they're threatened. And we see that a lot as well. But something that we don't talk about very often is that you can, with training and with mindset, you can acquire a 4th skill, which is focus. When you're threatened, you can focus. Your eyes dilate. You let more light in. Your breathing, your respiration increases. Your muscles are flooded with adrenaline. You're ready to move. You're ready to attack. You're ready to be the best human you can be. And so with training, an adrenaline response can also be a very positive thing that focuses you against the threat or against whatever it is that you're dealing with.
Okay, so I want to move into week 3. He may have actually dealt with the stress. However, it could be because he's found a rhythm in whatever his new normal is out there. If he's on the trail and he's been having to, struggle against the malnourishment or the rationing of food, I can't imagine that the stress wouldn't come back, because rationing food and, dealing with the onset of malnourishment, that's got to make you nervous going into week 4.
Absolutely. And as you're working, time goes on and you're dealing probably with a caloric deficit. If he's brought food with him, he's going to be starting to run low, and he's probably been rationing it. And so he's, like I said, caloric deficit, and that's going to be affecting all the aspects of his mind and his body. But then also, if he's acquiring food out there, if he's finding edible plants and berries and things like that, or snakes and things of that nature, that requires time, that requires focus, that requires noise, that requires him moving around, that requires somebody hunting things. That's a very easy time to get compromised and get caught, because you're forced to move and gather and not just stay put.
And I'm going to ask you a little bit in the next block about moving at night, because I always thought, gosh, move at night, don't move during the day. And you've got a surprising answer to that. And the answer is no. We'll talk about it in a second. But let's talk about, the week 4 now, that you're at a point now where the malnourishment's really kicked in. A skinny guy like Brian Laundrie is going to be a hell of a lot skinnier, which means he's going to be a hell of a lot colder. Fighting the elements won't be quite as easy as before. And then there's what the stress does after, night after night after night, in the addition to the guilt, because he may have done something. Like, we don't know if he killed Gabby, but if he did, he is running with that, or he's running with the notion that everybody thinks he did. And that's got to play a lot of tricks on your mind. Talk about how you fight your own mind.
Massive. The mind is going to be your make or break. Mindset is everything. The proper mindset, you can overcome extreme difficulty, but if your mindset isn't premierly focused and sharp and conditioned, then your mind is going to cause the cracks that's going to break everything down. And I think in this situation where you have a guy, whether who knows what he's done, but the circumstantial evidence, and obviously with him on the run, on the lam, that doesn't bode well for what he may or may have not done. And even if he's innocent, he knows that, cops, and he knows that he's being hunted and he can't go home and he's on the run. That's the kind of thing that's going to weigh very heavy on someone's mind, and it's going to drag him down. And I think that you may see a mental collapse before too long. It may be the kind of thing that, kind of like suicide by cop. He might do something very stupid in order to get caught because he just wants it all to be over.
Wants it all to be over. And now we're going into week 5. So just to sort of look at the next, 5 to 7 days, if he's been able to get through week 4, he may be in a bit better of a place than we imagine. But at the same time, if he has been stocked up on freeze-dried meals, they are coming to an end. There's so many of those you can carry. There's just volume to them, let alone, there's not weight, but there's just volume. And the weather, it is getting colder, so that can make things a lot more difficult. So, Joel, don't go anywhere, because when we come back, there's that whole notion like you can't cook your food or keep warm if you can't build a fire, and you can't build a fire if you want to stay undetected, right? And that would be wrong. After the break, that man right there, he is going to tell us the secret tricks to building a smokeless, flameless fire that keeps the Navy SEALs from being tracked. It is astounding, but it works. It's next. It just defies logic that you can build a fire that can't be seen for miles. But I'm going to blow your mind. The Navy SEALs have been doing it for years, and it has saved more than one of them from being captured by the enemy while on the run. The question is, does Brian Laundrie have a clue about any of these hacks? Back now with Joel Lambert of escapeandevademobile.com, as well as being a pretty badass former Navy SEAL himself and the host of Discovery's Lone Target. So I thought I knew everything when I said, well, you can't have a fire out in the woods if people are looking for you. And then you come along and you tell me, oh, you could have a Dakota fire or a trench fire. What are those?
Well, you know what? You're right. As far as having a fire, that's the first thing you don't want to do when you're being hunted because of all the obvious reasons. But there are ways to minimize that signature, to minimize the light from the fire and to minimize the smoke. And one of those is a Dakota fire pit, which is one of the favorite ways I use to cook, which is you dig two adjoining pits, maybe 8 inches around and 10 inches deep or so, build a fire in one of them. And then there's well, not quite yet. You dig a hole between the two pits connecting them, and then you build a fire in one of them, and so it draws the air, the oxygen to feed the fire from the other pit, so it reduces the turbulence and the wood won't smolder as much, it won't be as smoky, and then also because the fire is in the ground, several inches down, the light from the fire is significantly minimized. So that's a very good way to cook efficiently, keep yourself warm a little bit, and be able to have a morale-boosting fire without a massive signature.
Yeah, there's something about that morale-boosting business that is no joke. The small victories when you are, in crisis and it's you against the world. These little victories can really keep your mental stamina, which don't ever dismiss how important that is. What's the trench fire? How is that different?
A trench fire is you'll dig a shallow trench, maybe say 12 inches long and 3 or 4 inches across, and build a small fire in the middle of that. And you can set a tin can or a canteen cup or something on the adjoining edges of the trench, and so it will hold your cooking utensil up while the fire heats it from below, which is obviously, as well, cooking, if you have a very limited amount of food, cooking it in water, making a soup or a stew, boiling it is the most efficient way to save all your calories. You don't lose anything to the fire. And that will draw the air to feed the fire from either end of the trench, and again will hide the fire from being a huge signature. So it's another efficient way to have a fire and minimize your risk.
And again, I don't know that Brian Laundrie is going to have the savvy that you do about, how to avoid the enemy. He's probably only had an enjoyment factor of his fires. So really quickly, something else that you said that I was so surprised at was that there are 4 ways to get caught, and they are the following: sound, motion, reflection and light, and silhouette. And the silhouette part, I thought it was so interesting when you said there's nothing in nature that resembles a human head. It's pretty fascinating. How do you match the fact that you got one?
Well, you break up your silhouette. There are a lot of different tactics and techniques. You never skylight yourself or skyline yourself. So if you are traveling along a ridge line, you never travel right on the ridge line because anybody could look up at that ridge line and see the silhouette of a human body moving along the ridge line. So you always move 10 or 15 meters down the ridge line and move along that peak so that you're not silhouetting yourself against the sky. Silhouetting yourself against the sky is a very easy way to give yourself away very quickly. So silhouette, you can also break up the silhouette. That's why we do the camouflage stuff in the military. You wear the floppy brimmed hats and we stick vegetation around our bodies to break up that outline of a human body, because a human body, it's pretty easy to pick out in nature.
It's just not natural. Yeah, just not natural in a forest. Okay, I want to play something. This is great because we all think, well, we've got all this gear. We'll find Brian Laundrie. We've got all the technology in the world. And there's a $20 million drone that came after you on your program. I'm just going to let that play out so everybody saw how that ended up playing out. Take a look.
UAV. Get in here. Get under.
Equipped with sophisticated navigation and state-of-the-art camera systems, the Gray Eagle can spot a license plate from 5 miles in the sky.
I'm trying to move from concealment to concealment, trying to stay in the shadows to minimize my exposure to them. I can see it. There it is. Just gotta keep moving.
Our camera should be on the target. We're still a bit away, but we are looking at individuals moving in southeasterly direction.
Yeah, I see the move.
There he is. That's the guy we want.
It's incredible. You know, I also was mistaken when I thought it's smarter to move at night and sleep during the day. And then along comes Joel Lambert to say, not quite so, Ash. Why is that?
Well, again, Ashley, the situation dictates, and different environments and different situations will dictate how you move and the strategy that you affect. And moving at night and staying put during the day is the right choice in some situations, and like in the desert, and it's the wrong choice in other situations. I mean, moving at night, it's much slower, much slower to move at night unless you have a very clear path that you move on. And if there's a clear path, people are probably on it. So you want to stay off of those. So moving at night, you have to be very careful because the noise you make is massive. And at night, noise tends to travel further through the air. And then you'll silhouette yourself. You need light. So any kind of light discipline that flashes out can give you away. It's just not necessarily the best choice. The situation will dictate.
Amazing.
So, yeah.
That's why you're smarter at this stuff than I am. I'd have been caught on day one. Okay, Joel, don't go anywhere. There's about 150 Facebook groups, if you can believe it, that are dedicated to talking about even solving the Gabby Petito's case. And one of them has I know. It has 141,000 members alone. So out there in viewer land right now, a few of them might be existing. And we've got some of the questions for you, Joel, from those viewers. That's coming up right after this. Back now with expert survivalist Joel Lambert of escapeandevademobile.com. And Joel, the tough questions now from our audience, and they were good ones, by the way, may I say. This first one comes from someone named Swiss Avenue DES, Swiss Avenue Des. And it says, could Brian really be doing this for long without help? It's a good question.
That's a great question. That's one of the things that I am suspicious of. I mean, if he's not on a beach in Mexico drinking margaritas, maybe he's in somebody's apartment, eating Grubhub and watching this on TV right now. But if he's out in the wilderness, now that becomes an entirely, now we're talking about all the stuff we're talking about. It becomes a much more difficult thing. And he could be getting help out there as well. When we do escape and evade situations in the training in the military, one of the aspects of this is friendly people from the country that you're at war with, trying to get help from the resistance or get people to bring you soup or transport you someplace, give you a quick ride or something like that, or dead drop of food and water. It could be anything like that. But it wouldn't surprise me. It'd be very difficult for him just because of the sentiment against him and just the national mood. But definitely could be.
And that it's illegal, right, to harbor a federal fugitive. Okay, I have two more questions, but I only have a minute left. So really quickly, this also comes from that same Swiss Avenue desk, but it's a good one. What kind of trap or bait can we lay for him? Trap or bait? Well, I mean, I would lay mock booby traps without the explosives, but would have some sort of noise maker or some sort of smoke grenade or something like that went off. Those are the kinds of things that they could do. But I think that's dependent on knowing where he's at, knowing where he's going to move through, and knowing that he will be moving. So as far as traps go, I would not worry about that in this scenario. I would be focused more on things like drones, FLIR, thermal imaging, stuff like that, where you can, listening stations, tremblers, the stuff they have on the border. There's a lot of things that they could use to try to narrow this down, and that would be the way I would go. I have 10 seconds, but I need to get one answer from you. If you had to hide out anywhere in the U.S., where would you go? 10 seconds. Anywhere in the U.S., it would be one of the biggest state parks, national parks. Well, there you go. Hey, Joel Lambert, this has been so great. Thank you so much about this. I'm just going to give another quick plug. Escape and evasion techniques at escapeandevademobile.com. Joel, I hope you'll come back again because I still have a gazillion questions for you on the international side about the whole search for him internationally. So, hey, everyone, thank you for watching. We're going to do that international story tomorrow. So come on back and join us on Banfield.